Everybody. Mike Saunders, founder of XP. I actually met Jake on a bus in Amsterdam at Breakpoint last year. It was the best 45 minutes stuck coming from the conference back to the hotel where he was forced to listen to me pitch for him the entire time. And it actually turned out into a seed investment from his firm that really helped us scale even faster. So I'm going to talk to you today about XP. We're tackling the buying and selling of sports and concert tickets. And also what I want to talk about is really the wave of crypto, of consumer crypto coming now, and how all of you can get involved in this wave that's about to happen, and specifically crypto commerce. So again, xp.tickets, pull out your phones and check it out. We want to be the best way you can buy and sell sports and concert tickets. A bit about me, my background. Building marketplaces. I started one of the earliest online food delivery companies back in the 90s, last century. Basically turned into Grubhub, sold it to Grubhub in 2011, and really watched us going from, we were charging restaurants 5%, and then somehow along the way, after going public, it was up as high as 35%. And we went from being this marketplace that everybody loved to one where people just really didn't like us. Right? I want to say that my first part of the journey was on the love part, and it just got out of hand, where as a middleman, you really have to balance all sides of the equation. And what you realize is all the consumers you can really, as an online marketplace, somewhat subordinate in exchange for rent seeking and profit taking. And I think what's super interesting about what we're about, this new wave coming in is it really is the opposite of that. So we've gone through an entire wave of Web 2 where it's all about the marketplaces, right? It's not just Grubhub or StubHub, but Facebook, Apple. How many of you are clicking in Apple for your app and they're taking 30%, right? Everyone seems to be taking 30%. Right, so again, we grew up pretty rapidly. No one liked us; they all went to DoorDash. Here's me, being very happy with part of the journey. But I left at the end of 2015, and I found Solana. Kind of wandering in what's new coming out in tech, and I found Solana in maybe 21, and the power of this open distributed network just really resonated as this is the technology that's going to change everything. This is the technology that's going to give power back to the individuals, every part of this. It's the middleman will have a new role. So I think when you really look at unbundling, the middleman, you realize that they're doing like 5 or 6 jobs, and they're trying to capture value from the wrong parts of the equation, right? They're capturing it from discovery, right? They're offering some level of insurance that you're going to get your product and things like that. So, we started building on Solana. We won Grizzlython last year with a protocol called tamper-proof, and we used that to realize what could we do with this thing. And the obvious answer for us was tickets, right? So, I think when you look back at the StubHub world, it's a digital asset, right? It really is a digital asset. You think of it as a QR code, you think of it as a barcode, but at the end of the day, there's this private blockchain. It's not really a blockchain, it's a database called Ticketmaster. And you're just, when you transfer, you're transferring to someone else, and they do everything they can to make it, for them to capture the value, not to the individuals. So look, we jumped in saying, hey, this technology is amazing. Ticketing StubHub was the first marketplace that came to be in the 2000s. If we're going to start getting into consumer crypto, where is it going to be? It's going to be in tickets, right? So look, obviously ticketing is broken, right? So you probably all have gone through the experience of you want to go to an event, you put $50 worth of tickets in your account, and by the time you get to checkout, it's like $2,000. Right? Like it's infuriating that they don't treat you seriously as consumers, where there really is no proper price discovery, right? There's no fair market value, right? And I think what we've learned in doing this is how it's infected all elements of the ecosystem, right? You have this on sale that happens when an artist first wants to sell out, and their job is to just get the pop, basically. Make sure everybody feels like this is a really hot thing to go to. And and they collaborate with brokers and fans, and they tell you that you're on their VIP list, and it's just a game for them to charge more, right? And once that's sold out, right, then there's another problem on the secondary, right? So you've got a primary issue, you've got a secondary issue. And the secondary, you could either go to StubHub, Vivid, SeatGeek, any of these other sites, and then they play the game of middleman, where they can charge basically 35% for the luxury of you swapping a ticket with somebody you don't know. So, if you really want to, if you're aggrieved by that and you want to do it yourself, what do? You go to Facebook, you go to Reddit, you find another buyer, and like 90% of the time you get scammed, right? So there really is no way to do this unless everything changes. So our bet is that there will be an open, transparent, and fair ecosystem that we can help facilitate, create, and bring to everyone for the fans. We think ultimately it is powered by a Solana-based exchange, and that's what we're building at XP. So to do all this, though, you just can't knock on Ticketmaster's door and say, hey, I'm going to beat you, right? This is a huge problem, right? We started today. We are live today at xp.tickets with basically 50 million tickets nationwide to every event. You want to go to a Patriots game, a Celtics game, we are 30% cheaper than StubHub, Vivid, SeatGeek. And we do this today by partnering with a network of brokers that they're on the other side. They just want to find you guys and be able to sell their tickets at at what they consider fair market value. So we are stepping through this in a way where, to get through this together, we need to grow a fan base to acquire tickets and really just realize there's a better way. So the XP promise right now is that you will get your ticket, it will be cheaper, and we can guarantee we have a ton of inventory to your most popular events. We're currently selling tickets to Sabrina Carpenter and NFL games left and right, and it's always fun to watch what all these different consumers all across the country are buying. I think last month alone we sold tickets across 119 different metro areas, right? But I think this is just the beginning. This is how we start. What could this look like at the end, right? If all of a sudden you can take the middleman out of the equation as a source of control and put the middleman back as a source of coordination, what can you do? Right? So what does it mean to coordinate, right? What does it mean for all of you to come together and say, hey, I really want to see, a Taylor Swift event, or I want to get a tour together, I want to buy it together. We can cut out the role over time of the promoter, of every middleman along the way, because you guys are liquidity, right? The fans want to support their artists. They don't have a great way to do it right now. They have to do it through these layers and layers and layers that ends up screwing the artists and screwing the fans. Right? So, again, we're in a position here where we're taking on Ticketmaster, right? We're taking on StubHub. These are billion-dollar companies. This is a quote from our friends at Tensor. How do you unseat a player with 90% market share? Or in the case, it's like 100% market share, right? It's really, really hard, and many have tried. I don't think I'm the first person to be like, oh, crypto tickets, that sounds right. Right? So how do we attack the problem, and why are we doing this differently? Some really interesting projects here. I really respect the fact that they're attempting to solve a hard problem. This is a marketplace problem, however. You need a critical mass of buyers and sellers at the same time for the same things to start to care. And so our solution is really attacking it starting from the secondary market. Right? The secondary market gives us the flywheel where we can offer everyone in this room something that they want today without even using the word crypto. If you pull up xp.tickets right now, you will not see the word crypto anywhere on the first 5 or 6 clicks. And so we are stepping through this in a way that I can only consider progressive decentralization. Right? We need to start slowly unpeeling the onion until the point where we can have the true crypto vision. Right? So today, you go to the website, one of the most obvious things is login. You can log in with your Solana wallet, right? You can also pay with USDC, right? So again, if you want to tell your friends about XP, log in with a phone number, pay with a credit card. We don't really want to be the one to scream crypto unless you're ready for it. But for everyone who's at Solana Boston, you're here because you care about where this can go. And I think it starts with payment. So today, not only are we about 30% cheaper than StubHub, you get an additional 6% if you pay with USDC. We're cutting out the middleman being the credit card, who is now, their 3% is a lot on the entire ecosystem, but any individual charge may not feel as egregious as everything else. What does this turn into? Again, the progressive decentralization through, crypto's really, really good for peer-to-peer, right? It's you want to switch with someone else, how do you find each other and trust each other on the internet, right? I think ultimately, the next wave here is not just buying tickets, but selling tickets. And again, if you unbundle all the things the marketplace does, discovery is a big part of it. But if you find somebody on Reddit, if you find somebody on Facebook, you should be able to safely swap money for ticket and know that your money is verified by USDC and your ticket is verified by XP. And so this is the future of where this all goes as we progress through this, right? If you have a ton of people swapping peer-to-peer with each other, if you have the brokers swapping, if you have the primary folks swapping, it really starts to look like a decentralized exchange, right? This is really, crypto has a really interesting way of financializing every industry. And I want to use the word financializing not in a bad way, right? So by doing this, by creating that price transparency, by creating unlimited liquidity, it allows anybody to feel like, I'll buy an extra ticket because I may or may not want to take a friend. And if not, I love this artist, I can sell it later on, make a few bucks. I think that is ultimately how all of these things start to connect as this goes on. And the artists would much rather you make a few bucks than some broker making a few bucks instead. So really, we're pushing it down to the individual layer where everyone gets to participate in supporting their favorite artist. So, it's more than just your favorite artist, and I'm telling you your favorite artist. It's the ticket itself is kind of this gateway to your identity, right? Your wallet, contains what you do, all about you. It really is an expression of your identity and in effect, proof of fandom. So we believe that these tickets, your ticket stubs that you used to care about 20, 30 years ago as a collectible is now just this random Apple Wallet extension that needs to be more. And I think what we can do is we can allow you to have your tickets, your proof of fandom, infer what you can do next. So an artist may say, hey, I want to give first access to people that have been to 5 of my shows. I want to give someone, my favorite fans who've listened to 1,000 hours of Spotify access to my favorite shows. It shouldn't be Ticketmaster that defines that you're a verified fan. It should be you that is verifying to them, hey, I'm a fan, what are you going to give me? And I think this crypto possibility is what starts to change the game and really change the role of the middleman. So why now? Why tickets? I think we saw something really interesting. After COVID, everyone wants to go to live events. Live events mean more. It's not, you hear a lot about it. It's not things. It's experiences. That's where the name XP comes from. The experiences. There's just an ongoing hatred of Ticketmaster that I'm happy to lean into. To the point where the regulators are now going after them. This was a Ticketmaster Live Nation acquisition roll-up that came together in like 2011, 2012 that probably should have never happened. And that monopoly will get broken up. No matter what side of the aisle, it's an easy pickings to pick on breaking these guys up. So it may not happen this month or this year, but it's definitely going to happen. And the other why now is Solana. I think we're all here because there's something really interesting about what this blockchain does. What does it mean to have this open, transparent network, and what can you do with it? So when, again, this all comes down to on-chain commerce, right? So what we're trying to unbundle here is the identity, is the payment, is the swapping of things in new and creative ways, right? The identity will turn into loyalty programs. What you're seeing with Blinks and what you're seeing with Drip, when you're seeing all these experiments allow you to interact in ways that are just different and they're composable, right? And so this identity gives you the power back as opposed to letting a middleman rent seek and capture that value in exchange for their 30, 35%. And again, I want to really talk about how, for everyone in this room that's thinking about building on Solana, it is so damn early. This is like the beginning of it. I know we are all watching, token up and token down a bit and token back up. It's still early from a usability standpoint. You still talk to people. They're like, I've heard of Solana. I don't know what it is. We're so early. I've lived through the first wave of the internet, right? Where we had Bill Gates on the Letterman show. They were laughing at him that you could listen to a baseball game, on the computer. And now, who's laughing now? I guess we're going from this world of browsers to wallets, and nobody has a wallet, right? We all have wallets. I have Phantom, on my phone. But the average consumer, the closest they get to a wallet is maybe Apple Pay, right? Is maybe Venmo. And these things are all starting to collide. And until they do, though, there's such an opportunity for everyone in this room to build really cool consumer experiences that are unique. And again, nobody knows more than you because it doesn't exist. And that's a big part of why I believe consumer crypto, and specifically crypto commerce, are really going to take over. Thank you for listening. Check out xp.tickets.